That is what you see on your normal seating position when you're driving this truck. Can't see the speedometer very well, can you? Did anybody drive this truck before they sold it and offered it to the public? Sometimes I wonder. Anyway, this video is meant to be a review of the current generation aluminum bodied F150, aka 13th generation, compared to the 12th generation. I totaled out my truck, a 2014 F150. It's been my most favorite vehicle that I ever owned. I love the truck. I've been in this truck for about a month. It's a rental truck. This truck's a Lariat, and it's got all the options: leather, heated cool seats that blow air on your bummy. And my old truck was an XLT, so this is actually a much higher trim truck. First, the problem with most of these reviews that you get, they're all people that have a vested interest in Ford selling more trucks, so they don't ever tell you what a real honest review. To me, this truck represents what can you change. What did Ford want to change to sell new trucks, and it didn't matter whether it was better or not. Because this truck has a lot of quirks, and I need a new truck, and this thing sure as heck hasn't sold me on going to buy a new one. I'll start out with the exterior. My number one thing that I hate, one of the number one things, and this was true of the last one, is they put the tow hooks for the trailer clear up under there, and they're also very funky shape. And I don't know who decided that, but it wasn't very good. Okay. The other thing that I just absolutely detest are these mirrors. These mirrors are not an improvement. They suck, actually. They've got this blind spot awareness thing, but learn how to adjust your mirrors correctly, and you don't need that. They don't reach out as wide to see behind a trailer. I don't need big mirrors. I just need mirrors that work. I don't need the elephant ear tow mirrors. I just need, heck, the mirrors that were on the previous 12th generation truck were just fine. The combo pad. Again, another case of moving something just for the sake of moving it and not making it better. The biggest thing I like the combo pad for is when my hands are full. Say I've got both hands full of stuff. I can't reach in my pocket to unlock the truck. The previous generation, I just come over here while holding the item, punch in the thing, open the truck up. Now this up here is more inconvenient. Okay, into lighting. Okay, that's where this truck dominates the previous generation. It's got lights that are on the outside of the mirrors. It's got much brighter lights on the back when backing up. You've got lights in the cup holder area. You've got pleasant lights in the door handles area and footwell area. Generally, this truck has got it all going on over the old generation with lights. Way better. With the exception of that is this. When you open the truck up and it's dark, the light for that turns off. So you can't see whether you're pushing lock or unlock. Before with the other model, you could just reach over here and you could feel it because it had a little bump on it, on the little rocker switch, and you could just feel it. It was intuitive where it was at. This is not a natural location for the door locks, and it's not lit when you go to get out in the truck at dark and you can't see it. I've actually had to turn my flashlight on to figure out whether I was pushing lock or unlock. Okay, the other issue with the steering wheel is, see these raised areas here? I hate that. You put your hand on it and you're turning it, that's getting in the way of your hand. Same thing here. The previous generation truck did not have a raised spoke area to the wheel. Now I have gotten used to it as I've driven this truck more often. I've probably put at least 1,000 miles on this. I have gotten used to it, but I don't like that. It's not an improvement. Okay. Okay, build quality. Generally, the interior of this truck is put together nicer than the old one. I have to admit, it's just nicer as far as the fit and finish of the panels, and generally the materials that are used just seem nicer. There's not as many like rough edges. I don't really like how much this moves here. That moves a lot right there and doesn't feel very secure. The other thing is, you see the waviness of that little rubber pad that's right there? That looks kind of tacky, and how it doesn't lay flat on there. The other thing I don't like is I don't like the storage bin. It's much smaller than the old model truck. You have to it goes down into a hole, which I don't really like. It's just not as good. I mean, it's harder to reach to and get to whenever you're driving the truck. Oh, one other thing. The shift lever. This doesn't have any markings as to what gear you're shifting into. And the gear on the dash like takes your eyes away from this here, so it's you kind of like end up like putting it in a gear that you're really not sure of, or doesn't go in automatically naturally into. Okay, the door controls. The door controls are clear up here in a very inconvenient location. They're up way forward. They're up higher. They don't naturally fit where your hand was as they did on the previous model. Not as good. I prefer the round vents that the old model had, although this is not a showstopper to me, mainly because I liked that you could look by sight, you could tell automatically and quickly which way the vent would be blowing just by looking at it. This, you've got directional back in there. It's okay. It wouldn't like keep me from buying the truck or not. The moonroof. I've never had that in a truck. I normally don't drive by trucks with all this stuff on them, but I like that. It makes the truck like feel just cool. I like it. It's been so, I don't know that I'd pay the money for it, but I do like that feature, I have to admit. Okay, the sync system. The sync system on this truck is way better than the old one in my 2014. It's faster. It connects immediately. The controls respond immediately to my commands. Way big improvement over the old one. One thing, and this truck is an improvement in the AC controls, but this is another one of those things. Did they drive the truck first? In the 12th generation, aka 2014 to 2011, I believe, this had a very hokey arrangement where you had to press the thing 3 times to like adjust it, and then you'd go by it, and then you'd have to press it like 2 or 3 more times to get to where you wanted it to blow out. Plus, as on the old truck, this is mounted low, so in order to adjust this, you must take your eyes completely off the road to do it. I don't find myself fiddling with this that often, as much as I did with the previous generation truck, but this should be higher. These buttons up here, for instance, I never mess with those. Nor did I mess with those on the old truck. Those buttons might as well be gone. In fact, they could be up here. I don't mess with the volume, especially the tune buttons, that much. I'm mainly using my steering wheel controls, same as on the old truck. This needs to come up higher so you don't have to take your eyes off the road. This is an improvement, but it still needs more improvement. Okay, the steering feel. The steering feel feels numb on this truck. When I first got it, there was like an annoying dead spot that I felt right in the middle. It was the first thing I noticed when I got in the truck. Since then, I don't notice it anymore. It seems like it's going away, but this truck does. This truck is the longer wheelbase. It's got the 6.5 foot bed in it. Well, the full size bed whenever you get the crew cab. My old truck had the 5.5 bed, 5.5 foot bed, so basically a foot shorter bed. I haven't driven this truck with one of these trucks with the shorter bed in it, but man, this truck sure is a lot less maneuverable. The turning radius is noticeably a lot less. I don't know if a foot difference in wheelbase makes that much difference. I actually hope it does, because if it doesn't, they really like lost the boat on the turning radius on this thing. I think it should be better. The truck doesn't feel like very sporty. When you're pulling in parking lots, it feels much larger. It feels like you're in a truck. Basically, my old truck just felt basically like a Ford Explorer or something like that. Very handy and easy to get in and out of stuff. This truck has the 5.0 V8 gas engine. My old truck had the EcoBoost. There's some stark differences with these engines. Fuel economy, I'm going to say, is fairly close. Even towing, if you're really pushing this truck, I think the towing mile per gallon drops over the EcoBoost. But there's only one situation where I prefer the 5.0 over the EcoBoost, and that is around town. If you're in around town traffic, stoplights, the 5.0 will feel more peppy and more responsive. It's going to be better to jump out in traffic with. If you've got to quickly make a left turn in front of cars or something like that, it's going to be a lot better there. I do not like it as well on the highway. This transmission is very uneager to shift out of a gear. It's almost like this transmission is the same shift strategy as the EcoBoost, and they're just two different types of engines. This engine keeps wanting to put you back to 2,000 RPM or less, where you're just not getting the torque out of it. So what happens is you need to go up a slight hill, and your engine is kind of lugged down, and it doesn't really want to go out of gear without you really mashing it. And then the engine winds up to 3,500 RPM when you do that. And it's just kind of on or off type power. Same when you're pulling. It's annoying whenever you're pulling, because you go down a little hill and you kind of come off the throttle when you're towing, and the transmission shifts, and you're at 1,800 RPMs, but then you need to go up a slight rise over, say, overpass or something like that, and you go to press on the gas, and nothing's happening. With the EcoBoost, you've got the differences in these engines is pretty stark. For instance, I don't know exactly, I haven't looked, but I would bet at 2,000 RPMs that the EcoBoost is putting out the max amount of torque that this engine's even capable of delivering. So you're going to have to be at 3,800 RPMs to get the same torque the EcoBoost is doing at 2,000. I would also bet that if you put these trucks on a chassis dyno, that you would find that the EcoBoost puts out more torque than what the differences on paper between these two engines say. So what I'm saying is this feels like a lot less than, 30 something odd foot-pounds less torque than the EcoBoost. It feels like a lot more than that to me. The other thing is the suspension on this truck. This truck is riding on 20s. My old truck was 18s. I don't know how much harsher that is, but this truck does not ride smoother than or softer than the 2014 did. This is a much harder, stiffer ride. I noticed this when I went on some dirt roads when we went out in the desert. Very harsh compared to the old truck. It's almost like they used the suspension from the previous generation where the truck was like 700 pounds lighter, and they put it in this truck with no changes. The suspension is definitely stiffer on this truck, and you will notice it like instantly. The upside to that is this truck does handle the weight quite a bit better. The weight of my trailer here is basically 4,500 to 5,000 pounds. It's pretty heavy on the ball. But this truck does handle the weight quite a bit better. Less sway, just generally better like load handling ability. So that is like an improvement. Basically, I'm kind of disappointed. I was at the point where I normally trade my truck, and because I had about 80,000 miles, I usually trade when I'm at close to 100. This truck has not inspired me to go run out and throw my coin down on it on a new 2017 F150. It just hasn't. You know what it makes me want to do? It makes me want to find a low mileage 2014 and buy that again. Again, I get back to the view through the steering wheel of the gauges. Why? Why, Ford? Did you not drive this truck first? Come on, guys. You know, if you sit dead straight and kind of purposely sit up, you're going to see the gauge is okay. But most people kind of lean slightly to the right and rest their arm on the armrest. You know, that's what most people do if you like see when they're driving, and you just can't see the speed through the steering wheel here. One thing I forgot to mention I do like this little slot right here. That's perfect to stick your phone in. That's awesome. I like that. Been really it's really nice that you finally have a place to keep your phone without it flying all over the place. I like the storage that they've got in the doors. That's pretty much like the previous generation truck. I like the side storage here. I think the previous generation truck had that too. Mine had the center seat in it, and I liked that. I like the console better, I found. But it doesn't keep me from having garbage like accumulate in it. Oh, one last thing. I talked about fit and finish. The doors on this truck shut like very nicely. There is a very nice thud to that door. It seems like it's sealed better than the old truck. I don't know. I like my doors on my trucks to like sound good. I remember the old Chevys from the 80s and 90s. You'd shut the door and hear a big clank because the bushings in the door hinges pretty much got destroyed. Like as soon as you drove off the lot, the door started sagging. And so yeah, this truck to me is like sealed up like a little bit better, like quite a bit better. The doors sound very solid when they close. Yeah, there's a look at the back. There's shit everywhere in here. I've been working out of this truck. As you can see, I don't like baby my trucks. I use them. But I'm just sad. I was looking forward to buying a new truck, but I don't know if I'm going to buy a new truck. I still may end up with one of these. But if I can find the right deal on a 2014 with low miles on it, I'm doing it. I'm not going to buy one of these trucks. So that's an honest review as I can give you after driving this thing for about 1,000 miles and close to 3 weeks. Let's see if there's anything else I can remember. It's got the push button start. I did have once where I could not get this this screen to turn on at all, even after restarting the truck. I could not do it. Oh, one other annoying thing is this screen here. It keeps going to a different screen than I really want it to. I kind of want it to just stay on the fuel economy. I wish it would just stay on whatever I set it on and not change unless I change it. So that is annoying that it does that, but it just does. And it's just another thing. This truck just annoys me. It just is annoying. It's got little quirks that I don't like. The mirrors are stupid. They're just made to like look sporty. The blind spot thing is a gimmick. Just learn to adjust your mirrors better and learn how to drive. You can't see that much out of those mirrors. And no, I don't want elephant ear toe mirrors. I don't. The regular mirrors should work just fine. So that's all I can think of right now. Enjoy your truck, whatever you drive.